5 soldiers discovered gold worth $3 million in the den of a sea. Before we continue, please like this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more video in a soldier's camp. The leader of the soldiers is a wicked general. The general got information that there are many gold in a small city near them, and he sent his men to go and capture the city and bring all their gold back the soldiers, and took off to the nearby city. When they reached there, they started capturing the residents of the city in a room. A woman told her son to hide and never come out until the soldiers are gone. The son wanted to ask questions, but the woman hurriedly hid him just in the door to their house was kicked open, and the soldiers walked in and it captured the woman. The soldiers captured all the people living in that city and took all their gold. The soldiers led all the people that they captured to a place and killed them all. The boy that her mother hid was sneakily following them, and he witnessed all of it. The boy wanted to run and save his mom, but some men who were not captured stopped him. The men let him know that he will also die. The soldiers saw him. The leader of the men told the boy that they have planted a bomb in the city and that he can take revenge by pressing the explosion so that all of the soldiers in the city will die. The boy pressed the explosion and walls of the city exploded. The city was originally surrounded by water, so when the walls exploded, water rushed into the city. All the soldiers drowned in the water, and all the gold that they looted were buried in the seabed. Many years later, 2 soldiers from a nearby country disguised as press members and came to interview the wicked general. They were searched thoroughly before they were allowed to meet the general. When they met the general, they started interviewing him. 3 other soldiers also sneaked in through a sea that was serving as boundary between the 2 countries. The 2 soldiers that were interviewing the general knocked him out and put him inside a bag. The 3 soldiers who sneaked and made explosion underground, thereby creating a way for the other 2. They took the unconscious general and escaped. The enemy soldiers were already alerted, and they started exchanging bullets. The 5 soldiers saw an armored car and all entered the armored car. They broke the wall of the house with the car and started escaped, but the enemy soldiers were determined to stop them. They chased them as they even tried to climb that amber car and throw a bomb inside it, but they didn't succeed. The 5 soldiers were surrounded when they were crossing a bridge, but they shot the side of the bridge with the gun of the armored car. The side of the bridge exploded and it drove the armored car into the sea. Immediately, the hammered car fell into the sea. The 5 of them came out curing the unconscious general and swam away. The enemy soldiers shot many bullets inside the water, wishing that the bullet hits one of the soldiers, not knowing but the 5 soldiers are already gone. The 5 soldiers swam to a distance and saw the enemy soldiers in a boat. They killed them all and escaped with their boat. When they got back, their general scolded them for acting on their own. He scolded them for going on a mission without his permission, and one of them, named Jack, who is the leader among the 5 soldiers, told the general that they are sorry and that they wanted to abduct the wicked general because he has killed many innocent people. The general all warned them not to act on their own next time and told them to leave, but before they left, he gave them a bottle of wine for the success of the mission that night. In a bar, the 5 soldiers were all drinking the wine that their general had them. They discussed and laughed as they drank the wine. A girl called Nora, who works in the bar, brought more wine to them. Nora is Kevin's girlfriend, and Kelvin is one of those soldiers. The other soldiers didn't know that Nora is Kelvin's girlfriend. One of the soldiers asked Nora who she would like to sleep with among them, and Nora replied that it definitely isn't him. The other soldiers, including Kelvin, laughed on hearing that. The soldier turned to Kelvin and asked him why he is laughing when he cannot even talk to a girl like Nora, and Kelvin replied that Nora is already his girlfriend. The rest of the soldiers were shocked because they all had their eyes on Nora that night. Kelvin went to Nora's house and they spent the night together. Kelvin told Nora that he wants to take her to see his parents, but Nora told him that she cannot leave her people and that she has to help her people. She showed him a gold and told Kelvin that there are many of such gold buried deep in the sea. Kelvin asked her how she knew, and she replied that her grandfather told her. It turns out that Nora's grandfather was a little kid that survived the attack of the Amy from the wicked general, and he has told Nora everything that happened, including the gold worth $3 million buried in the sea. Nora told Kelvin to help her find the gold, and that her people, who is the original owners of the gold, are suffering, and they need the gold. That night, Nora's brother came to Nora's house and demanded for her to give him that gold. She is with Kelvin, came out and told them that Nora is not giving them the gold. They started fighting, and Kelvin took them all down, but they pointed a gun at Kelvin and he surrendered. They led Kelvin and Nora outside trying to take them away, but Jack came and saved them. He asked Kelvin who those people are, and he said that he will explain later. Later, Kelvin showed Jack and the rest the gold and explained to them how many of the gold were buried in the seabed many years ago, and that Nora needs their help in getting those goals out of them. Water Jack agreed that they will help, but only on the condition that they will share the profit made from the gold 50-50. Nora didn't need the gold for herself, but for her people since the gold was originally theirs. But she has no other option than to agree to their request, since they will also take risk in getting the gold out. Jack and his team started drafting plan that they will use in getting the gold out of the sea. They used a helicopter to survey the sea so that they will know how they will start, but the enemy soldiers that stays on the other end of the sea attacked them with the jet. The jet fired many missiles, but they skillfully dodged it. They turned around and started heading back with their helicopter, but the jet kept trying to explode their helicopter. They turned to the jet and started shooting the jet with a helicopter's machine gun. The jet started catching fire and flew away when they got back. They tried many other ways to get the gold out of the sea, but they were not able to come up with a plan to get the gold that was too heavy out of the sea. Their general, who was not aware of that, they air up to sermon them and told them that they will be sent out of this town to another town. They were not willing to leave because they want to secretly get the gold out of the water. They tried to convince their general to allow them stay, but he refused. They were helpless and already gave up hope of getting the gold out of the water since they can't even come up with a good plan. Jack told Calvin to go and tell his girlfriend Nora that they will be leaving and therefore will not longer help her. Again, Calvin went and told Nora, and Nora cried because she believed that the hope of her people relies on that gold. That night, as Jack was drinking with some of his team, Ben, the brain of the team, suddenly got enlightened. He told them to follow him immediately and explained to them that they can get the gold out of the sea by pumping air into a waterproof inside the sea and tie it to the gold. In that way, it will no longer be heavy for them. They were all excited when they heard the plan, and they immediately started executing their plan. House from many years ago were still in the seabed, and they started trying to get inside the house to search for the gold. The enemy armies, who has already gotten information that the gold they failed to get many years ago were in the seabed, also came to that location, but they noticed that other people are already in the sea searching for the gold, so they waited on the water surface so that they will kill Jack and his team once they came out and take the gold. Jack's general also started asking about what Jack and his team were up to. When he found out that they went to the sea to search for gold and that the enemy soldiers has laid an ambush for them, he dispatched his own soldiers. Jack and his team didn't know what was happening outside when they found the gold that they tied it on a waterproof cloth filled with air, and it was easy for them to carry in the water. But their excitement died down when a bomb exploded above them, shaking the water. It was when that they found out that the enemy armies are already waiting for them on the water surface. They moved the gold to another side of the water. They pumped more air into the waterproof, and it carried the gold to the surface of the water. But the enemy armies noticed them immediately. To reach the surface of the water, the enemy armies targeted them with a missile. And as they were about to shoot the missile, they were shot from the air with a helicopter. They caught fire and sank in the next scene. Celebration was held, and Jack and his team, including Nora, were awarded for recovering the gold that has been missing for many years. The general later summoned Jack and his team, including Nora, and gave them their share from the money gotten from the gold. Nora was given 80, while the others were given the remaining 20%. Calvin